this moment in time, you have a decision. Do you want to be the teacher come June who has watched your student with visual impairments sit in the corner like so many of them do, unfortunately? Or do you want to be the teacher who consistently knows exactly what your student needs, whether you're a TVI, whether you are a classroom teacher or related service staff member? This is the training that's going to give you the exact framework that you need to consistently implement 21st century strategies into your classroom so that way you can help prepare your students for jobs that don't even exist yet. By the end of this jam-packed training, and when I say jam-packed, I mean it, we are going to talk about a lot of different subjects. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and then I will answer them as I see them and or when the appropriate time comes. You will have unlocked four exact strategies. These are four pillars that instantly increase the academic and daily living skills of your students with impairments. It's summer. I kept my kids home for one last fun week, so you will hear them. They're arguing over screens, not a big deal. But if you are a teacher of students with visual impairments and you've been in this field a long time, you probably already have heard what I'm about to say. I will also break it down for you in how I teach it to my teams as well. If you are brand new to us, this information is going to be so impactful for you. You're going to quickly notice that all of these strategies are science-backed, they're easy to implement, and they are for a variety of learners with visual impairments, no matter how much experience you have or the type of learner that you are facing. And yeah, at the very end, I'm going to share with you how you can continue to learn and grow with us. You're going to love the offers that we have on the table, but that's not until like literally the last 5 minutes. So let's get a feel for the room first. I need to know your job position so that way I can tailor this conversation to you. Are you a TVI? Are you O&M? Are you dual or are you a classroom teacher or an admin or related service staff? We've got some chats coming in. We've got comms, dual, dual. Okay. So we've got a lot of people here, TVI in the district. Great. Do we have any classroom teachers, Braille teachers specifically for teens and adults? Perfect. Okay. This is great, you guys. O&M teacher. Love it. Since our community is growing, we often get classroom teachers in here too. And of course, I would talk to them a little differently. So the way that I'm going to talk to you guys about it is the four pillars that I teach my team on, because that's what VI Foundations, the big program that this webinar is based on, does. Okay. That program is specifically for the classroom teachers because I found that my classroom teachers weren't doing the things that I told them to do when I gave them drive-by instructions. No wonder, right? Okay, so we have O&Ms, we have TSVI, great. I'm going to talk to you about how I train my staff. So the goal for this is that you have an idea come the end of this next 60 minutes of how you're going to train your staff and the four pillars that you need to be training them on. Um, Janet's asking if there's a handout for this presentation. There's not a handout for this presentation. It's just my PowerPoint. What challenges are you facing? I'm going to take off the word working with students with visual impairments and put in when training your teams. What challenges are you facing when you're training your teams? That way I can address those challenges because classroom teachers are going to have different challenges than you guys. Go ahead and write in the chat and then I can review them and make sure that I address your needs. What challenges are you facing when training your teams? Maybe you're dealing with your teachers not knowing how to handle students with visual impairments or students that are missing out on service time. A lot of times my students, they exhibit unwanted behaviors simply because they're bored. Go ahead and put a 1 in the chat if you've seen any of those situations. Because I know how frustrating it is to feel overwhelmed when the classroom teachers are trying to figure it out and the TVIs and O&Ms don't have enough time to actually train them. And it's so hard to find the time. You have students during their planning times, and oftentimes their planning time is taken over by IEP meetings, anyways, or other meetings that the school has. But all of our students deserve to be fully engaged in all of their education. And so, just like the Rosetta Stone translates hieroglyphics into easy to understand text, that's what incorporating ECC strategies will do, especially when you follow this specific framework. It's a code for understanding the academic and daily living skills needs of our students with visual impairments. Now, I'm on a soapbox talking to everybody on the same soapbox here, but those are the words that I use for my teachers. Tracy is one of the people who's gone through our program. And I want to show you what happens when you actually have your teachers and your TAs implement these things. For Tracy, yeah, she said she enjoyed the hints, advice, and technical skills. But what ended up happening was she had a better relationship with her students and with her O&M because her O&M and her could then have the same conversations and come at it from the same level. So, three important things to take note if you're working with students with visual impairments, or you will have any in the future, which is all of you, incorporating the ECC strategies isn't just best practice, but it's essential for our students' overall success. And also, you'll notice that these strategies that I'm sharing with you aren't just generic strategies. They are very specific and in a specific order based on 17 years of experience as an O&M specialist with a TVI background. I graduated with my master's in visual disabilities, and then I went on to be full-time O&M. So I've always incorporated the ECC into my classes, even if I'm not UEB certified. But it's not just about learning what each strategy is, but how to help your teachers implement it into their classrooms. So I've gone from overwhelmed to newbie. This was a picture of me long time ago, my first year teaching, and I got to go to the guide dog school because I didn't get to go during my internship, to an exceptional educator over many years, and now to supporting teachers worldwide, like you guys, which is absolutely fun. We're going to breeze through the expanded core curriculum because you know exactly what it is. The Texas School for the Blind and Visually Impaired describes it as a framework of specialized skills and knowledge designed for students who are blind and visually impaired to address their unique needs and ensure they develop the skills necessary for independence and success. I think that's really important because when we look at what are the skills necessary for independence and success, it's no longer that the vocational programs that we see very often where our students are doing nuts and bolts, those are going by the wayside because they don't work. Robin Keating Clark came to the TVI symposium last year, a few years ago, and she taught me this framework. I just had a meeting with her the other day, and I was like, hey, I only teach this framework now because my teachers can use this in a moment's notice. She breaks the ECC down from 9 scattered areas into 3 core columns. Access, which holds compensatory, sensory efficiency, assistive technology. Then she does independent living with daily living skills, rec and leisure, and social skills. Then she does community readiness with career ed, orientation and mobility, and self-determination. Granted, self-determination goes over all of them, but I think about it as, can my student access exactly what's around them, like their immediate environment? Then independent living, can they access their intermediate environment? Can they access the general world around them, you know? And then can they interact with people and the environment in the community? And when I give those questions to my teachers and I ask them at any lesson, are you making sure that you are preparing my student for, or our student for, being able to access their immediate environment, their intermediate environment, and the grander environment and society in general? They can then say, oh, actually, this lesson doesn't really do that. Or maybe maybe I didn't have a chance to get this workshop to the TVI in time, but I have these other ideas. And so instead of having the student sit to the side, how can we get the student involved, thinking about that student's future? And if you follow Stephen Covey, one of his rules says to start with the end in mind. So when we do that, we want to begin to incorporate 21st century strategies in our lessons so that our students can go from sitting on the sidelines to academic achievement, from learned helplessness to moving around their environments, from unwanted behaviors that possibly disrupt their class to happily engaged in their lessons. So why does this matter? For a lot of reasons, but for the most part, because vision is responsible for 90% of our learning. And I don't think that our teachers fully understand the impact of that because they can't just go into teaching the same way that they always have. They have to think about the entire paradigm of how that student experiences the world shifting. Athena Odin, she's an OT that I really look up to. She's here over the Austin region. If you ever get a chance to train with her, or if you're in Texas in any way, she's absolutely incredible. Really, any OT who knows their stuff, I just find their brains incredible to learn from. But what she says is how you move is how you experience life. And I find that so true. So, as a case study, I have a student, Karina. Obviously, this is the cutest stock photo. I'm not showing pictures of my actual students on the internet, but if you could see my actual student, you would also fall in love. This one's just cute. But my student has a lot of these same issues. My student has CP and she is 6 years old, still not potty trained, was born at 23.6 weeks, so before viability, has a whole host of medical issues, and the CP affects the entire right side of her body to the point where, like, if she gets food on the right side of her cheek, she needs an adult to help her move it over because she has no access to like move that part of her cheek. Okay, so when we're looking at students like this with complex access needs, we're still thinking about what is their future? And the truth is, we don't know because the world, the vocational world, is changing so rapidly that the jobs that exist now, the living situations that exist now, may not be exactly what our students are stepping into. Like in the past, they knew what they would be stepping into, but we don't anymore. And so when I talk to my teachers, I want to make everything as clear and concise as possible. First, we do have to start with the end in mind. But how do we get there in the academic day without adding more to their plate? There are four pillars to 21st century success. And when I share this with you, a lot of you guys might say, oh, yeah, I know that. Or like, oh, duh, because it's going to seem so simple. But when you share this with your staff and teachers, they need that simplicity. But what they really need is to know the why behind the what. So I'm going to share with you the what, but it's your responsibility to explain the why. And because this presentation is developed typically for classroom teachers, I'm going to skip over some of the things that I know that you know, so that way we can get to like really how do you teach these things? Because 21st century success will skyrocket the academic and daily living skills of your students with visual impairments when taught correctly. The first pillar is interpreting vision to inform instruction. Most of our teachers read the I report and they might be able to say, okay, this student has this and this student has that. But I like to look at it from a three-pronged approach. We know that vision is responsible for our learning, but we also need to understand how that student is interpreting their world, how they are experiencing their world. From interpreting vision to inform instruction, you have to not only know what the visual impairment is, but actually be able to see the world through your students' eyes. And how you teach that is going to depend on the visual impairment itself, also having the conversations with the teachers as to where in the classroom are you putting the student and how are you setting it all up. So I like to look at the visual data, like 20 over 200, yada yada, the etiology and the perspective of the student. Where is that student placed? If you put a student with RP at the front of the classroom, you guys know what happens. But does your teacher? And does that teacher understand why? So giving them the support that they need for maybe those blindfold trainings, maybe those hard conversations, maybe that scientific understanding of what does acuity mean. Well, we know that acuity looks at 20 over 200, but how is all of that working in this math lesson? And how can I take that three-pronged approach and say, okay, now I understand what acuity is. We'll get into etiology in a second. And then, oh, but here the student can't actually access that math worksheet, maybe because of other medical things, maybe because of other things going on in their body. Other considerations like depth perception, visual fields, time of day, lighting, and medical implications and other health impairments make a huge difference. So, for you, we're going to skip over the three common visual impairments in children. What I want you to do right now is to take out pen and paper and start to think about how would I teach this to my staff? What is the why behind the what when I'm giving them instructions? And how can I support them through that? You guys already know three common visual impairments. You know that we're in an epidemic with cerebral visual impairment. I actually don't think it's a bad thing. I think cerebral visual impairments are really cool. And I have a theory. You're going to come back to me in 20 years. I'm going to share my theory. It has nothing to do with any of this. That we're all born with a cerebral visual impairment. The more I learn about the brain and how everything functions, I think it's just some of us grow out of it faster. I asked AI to make a video of what a cerebral visual impairment might look like, and this is what it came up with. Possibly, I'm not really sure. So now you've helped your teachers to understand what to look for. Let's see how you can put pillar one into implementation in the actual classroom. For you guys and for all the teachers, if you need individual support, that is our customer service line. It goes directly to my phone, and I reply between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Sometimes I don't get notifications, so I don't know why, but I'll reply as soon as I get it. For 21st century success, we want to look at implementing teaching strategies. Our second pillar is going to be teaching academics. For our teachers, they are so focused on the academics that they often forget everything else. So, how can we create adapted lessons in a flash? That's going to be the biggest question that we're going to need to teach our teachers. For one, I have them look at what is the function of the lesson. For you guys in the chat, feel free to write in how you train your teachers, and we can have that conversation as well. What do you help them with? I have them look at what is the function of the lesson. Kind of like when you're doing yoga, right? My yoga, my poses in my body are not gonna look the same as like Instagram woman in a little tiny bikini, like straddling a pole. It's just not. But the function of the stretch in my body versus her body will probably be the same. Same thing with our students. We want to look at not just what is happening, but what's the function of this lesson? Where are we going with it? And what 3D materials do I have on hand to support this lesson? In our last presentation, we talked about how TBIs and O&Ms, we have to be just as impactful as classroom teachers with only the things we can carry in our trunk or in our bag when they get an entire classroom. And yet they often still either need different materials or they need help being creative to understand, yes, this will work. No, this won't work. for each different learner and for your specific view of pedagogy, it might change and be different. So have those conversations with them. Also, how can I turn this lesson into a routine? This is a big thing I stress with my teachers because they don't get it. The power of routines in our VI Foundations program, we talk a lot about the power of routines because if I can get these teachers in my world for 10 hours, they will walk away with a calendar system. They will walk away understanding why I want these things to happen. Because routines are not just great for our students with visual impairments. And oftentimes, as TVIs and O&Ms, that's the pedagogy that we are looking at. And actually, Robin in our meeting the other day reminded me that there's much more to education than just what we see. Routines are great for every single student. They offer powerful opportunities for connection, engagement, and development. This is a clip that I took from this article from the Education State. The recurrence of activity develops and embeds knowledge, skills, and behaviors across learning outcomes. Why is this important? Because I need my teachers to understand the why behind the what. I need them to not just say, oh, Millie Smith said this. They don't know who Millie Smith is, but they do understand when I say routines are great for all of your students. You could actually increase the academic skills of all of your students if you implement these routines for them or with them. And this is how you can do it. Now, for me, I go into how I implement routines. Again, you and I are going to be on the same soapbox here. I like to pick one routine to start with and then write out the steps of the routine and then make sure that the beginning and the ending are the same each time. That's a Millie Smith thing. I didn't do the research, but I have anecdotal evidence to prove that that works. And then use prompt levels to scaffold support and add choices. There are 4 different prompt levels when you're teaching a student with visual impairments. Do your teachers implement those prompt levels and do they do that in a systematic way? Also making requests in more complex over a long period of time, adding in variety, all that jazz. The biggest routine that I share with my teachers is a calendar routine. Now, this picture is not mine. I got it from the internet because I don't currently have access to these boxes. But if you have access to any kind of calendar system, this is where we are starting because it's the most important routine and it can be implemented easily. Is it? That's the question. And no, it's typically not. But in VI Foundations, we're going to teach your teachers how to start these routines, how to create them, and how to actually make them so that they can do it. And the teacher and the student are both successful. So that way you're not like coming in being the one to do the routine and then saying, okay, are you sure you got this? Because I don't see you doing it when I come in. And they're like, yeah, we got it. Or like for me, one of my students, we made this incredible calendar system and it like hung on the wall and it was a big carpet square. Come to find out, the other kids were eating them. So we had to adapt. But my teacher didn't even tell us that the kids were eating the calendar pieces because I don't know why. We all get busy, it doesn't matter. So I had to go in and like retrain and teach. And so then when I brought my teams through the VI Foundations program, they were like, "Oh, we get it now. Okay." Because when they understand the why, then it becomes a lot easier. The third step in this is going to be your orientation and mobility. We're building confidence one step at a time. Now, I start with academics because that's what the teachers want. But when you look at the pyramid of learning, you will see that all O&M is underneath the surface before you get to the tippy top. It's like a pyramid, like Maslow's hierarchy. And the top is behaviors and academics. One misconception about mobility is that it's all on the responsibility of the O&M specialist. But O&M specialists, just like most TVIs that are not teaching Braille, if you have a student and you work with them about an hour a week, you are with them less than 1% of their waking life. Teachers are there with them about 23 to 25% of their waking lives, depending upon school day and structure and schedules. Paraprofessionals are our gold mine here, which we know. They are with our students about 27% of their waking lives. We know that children with visual impairments motor development is parallel to those without visual impairments until 4 to 6 months of age. When they start to lag specifically, and this was written in 1993, okay, we need more research, but it was due to the lack of motivation to move. Do children not want to move? No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that internal and external motivation both serve the same purpose, and that purpose is to reward value and minimize punishment, punishment being pain. So that's what motivation is. And it doesn't matter if it's internal or external, they both do the same thing. So we have to help our teachers understand that they can't just guide their students everywhere because that minimizes punishment, but it doesn't maximize the reward. Our teachers need to know what different cane skills are. They need to know what different cane skills look like. And they need to know where to stand. What's a sound shadow? How do I have this conversation with my O&M specialist? How to know when the student is doing something incorrectly with their cane. Because if they don't know, they can't bring it up to you. This is how one of the ways that I teach my teachers how to support our students' mobility skills. First, I teach them how to use direct language. So often, you guys, I'm sure that you're with me with this. Our teachers will tell our students, hey, it's over here, or come follow my voice. And then they wonder why, if they're not standing exactly in that one spot, the student goes to their voice the next time. Because the students are not being given the intrinsic motivation to move. It's all extrinsic. So we want to take our teachers and teach them how to take the extrinsic motivation to move and turn it into an intrinsic motivation. And that's with directional language. Then I also give them a framework to use. I teach them what a landmark is, what clues are. I teach them how to look for this in their natural environment. What is an appropriate landmark? Where should the student be looking for things? How should they be trailing the wall? What is the highest level of expectation, and what's the next level, and then what's the next level, so that they know what to look for and they can understand when something's not working, when the student isn't getting it. And then they can have that conversation with you to say, okay, how do I have this? How do I support these skills? Because our teachers are not teaching the skills, they're just supporting them. And that's exactly where the collaboration piece comes in. In VI Foundations, we are not training them how to teach O&M. We're not training them how to teach ECC skills. We are teaching our teachers how to support what you are doing. So the very last, but almost most important, is how do we have those crucial conversations? And that's exactly what happens in VI Foundations. Because in a world where there is so much noise, you have to be able to get through to your team in a way that decreases their objections and increases accountability and allows you, the teacher, the TVI, the O&M, the framework to say, hey, this is not working. I need you to be doing something different, because you're not their boss. And that honestly can get very uncomfortable. Susie says she agreed. Her students are dorm students during the week, but go home on the weekends and holidays. That was my whole full-time teaching career too. The students could do things at school, but not at home. And it's usually lack of opportunity and their old routine stopping their success. Stacey, I think that you bring up a really great point in that getting parents involved, especially when their children are at a residential school, can be really hard. I used to actually be very envious of my friends, my TVI and O&M's friends, who had great relationships with their students' parents because while I saw my relationships with the parents go down, the more that my data had to be increased, the more my relationships with the parents went down just because I didn't have time to make weekly phone calls like I used to. And it became so hard. Luckily, we do have videos, we do have other ways to share this information, but that crossover gets can get to be nil at times, and I completely understand. Yeah, Schools for the Blind experience that challenge a lot, and that's why I think Schools for the Blind have really great transition programs in place because they've been around for 100 years to see their students like drop off once they graduate. But either way, it's really great for parents to have this information too. And I'm talking a lot about teachers because they're very motivated to do this kind of stuff, but you can set these things up with all of your parents as well. Um, I know here in Texas we have a big parent support network too. So maybe we can get creative and see if there's a way that we could take these four pillars and get the parents involved because they no longer have to like come to the school, right? You could do it over Zoom or something. Start to get your wheels turning. And we want to have these conversations in a way where we're always centering the student first and keeping the relationship between the practitioners intact. Because ultimately, you are the expert, but they are also the expert and they're also busy. And what ends up happening is we just drop things off and leave because we don't have enough time to train them. Last year, I was working with my student Karina, and she got a new gate walker. It was so exciting. And I co-taught with the OT, and then the OT said just casually, "Oh, I haven't gotten to train the teacher on this yet." And I was like, "Wait, what? This student has had this very complicated gate trainer for a week and they haven't been taught on it because when the OT is there, the teacher then takes that time to work one-on-one with another student. So how can they? And once that system is set up at the beginning of the year, there's no overlap. That OT is expected to come in, pull the student out, and then that teacher works with the other student one-on-one. Like, of course it's not working. And I see this happen a lot of the time too, where I'll go in and with students like Karina, I like to push in and we do a lot of playground stuff during playground time. And the teachers will still say, "Oh, you're going to take the student. Okay, we're going to go over here." And I'm like, "Well, what? You're leaving me. I want to be here with you guys, with all of you. We can all be in the class together. I'll just be working with this one student so that way you can see what I'm doing." And unless you set that up in advance, it doesn't always happen. During the O&M symposium a few years ago, we had a group of people from Croatia teach me this, and I thought I had been living in transdisciplinary heaven at the school I worked at, but it turns out that there was still a lot of room to go. So what we're looking at here is a picture of it's like a row, four different pictures. We've got disciplinary, multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and transdisciplinary, all displayed as types of fruit that eventually blend into juice. Disciplinary being the fruits in bowls, all separated, each fruit being its own separate fruit. So think about like your middle school, right? You've got the English teacher as the oranges, you've got the math teacher as the banana, you've got the Spanish teacher as the apple. And they're all going to just teach that subject. And they're not really going to see each other. They're not even going to the IEP meetings. They're just doing their own thing. Then you've got multidisciplinary, and multidisciplinary here on this board is categorized as, or is not categorized, depicted as fruits in a tray, all lined up, cut up, not intermingled, but just in rows. Interdisciplinary being all those fruits still cut up as themselves in one bowl, and transdisciplinary as juice. we already talked through disciplinary. Multidisciplinary is when each practitioner teaches their own subject at their own designated time, comes to IEP meetings, ready to collaborate, ready to share, but very little communication prior. Interdisciplinary is where practitioners talk about their goals prior to IEP meetings, and there's some co-teaching, but it's not consistent, it's not every week, it's not mandated, it's not regular, and there are consults between team members, but they're irregular. This is typically where a lot of us are, according to the presentation from our friends in Croatia. Transdisciplinary happens much more at schools for the blind. I will be honest about that because of the proximity and because you know who the other person is and they're your coworker and you go to happy hour with them and because you have the opportunity to have a meeting like going between one student and another. Oh, here's the OT, here's the PT. I'm gonna have a quick like 2 minute. Oh, my student said XYZ. What do you think about that? And they say yes, no, and you're like, okay, cool, great. We'll chat later. Yeah, okay. And then you go the other way. And also in schools for the blind, you have a lot more time for that collaboration. Maybe there's a day where the students go back to the dorm early and you have that sit down time. Contract, whole other world. My first year contracting, I didn't find out who my student's TVI was until I saw her name on the paper. And I was like, oh, finally. Can I get that a person's contact information, please? Now that I know their name, because nobody had told me anything. I may or may not find out about an IEP meeting until 5 minutes before I have to be there. It's just the way that it is because of the law of proximity. But with transdisciplinary, you have shared IEP goals, there's consistent collaboration. Maybe the OT and the PE teacher teach together every week and if you were to walk in you wouldn't be able to tell who is who or what exact discipline each person is teaching, and that's what we want to work towards. But it's okay to be wherever you are because it's not about the type of team that you have. It's about how you can be more effective in your communication. So, on that piece of paper, I hope that you're writing down ideas. How can I be more effective in my communication, no matter what the level of team you already have? If you're in a completely disciplinary team, how can you move it up a little bit? Or if you're in a multidisciplinary team, how can you just be more communicative? Um, Here are some ideas that work for me, and I'd love for you guys to add yours in the chat. What I found is that quick communication works a lot better than long form emails. In fact, there's a specific way that you can talk to people, either using crucial conversations when that comes down to it, or even I like to look at everything as service to other people. And when I can do that, then they get bought into it. I also love for my quick communication to be celebration texts, awards, or like a banner or like a certificate. I don't think that I have it on here, but what I'll often do, and you can do this in Canva now, I used to do it in PowerPoint, is just make a little celebration award certificate. And you want to have the student doing the actual thing that you're awarding them for and the prompts that you give them so that other people can see, oh, this is how you do that. And it's possibly even up on the wall. It's a good object prompt for our teachers. But quick communication, quick texts get a lot more results rather than long form emails or holding things in. If you have to have a crucial conversation, do you guys know the crucial conversation framework? Barbara saying Google Forms are a quick way to assess needs. That's great. Yeah. I love Google Forms. Rebecca Taylor, who has supported the TVI Symposium in the past, she's an incredible TVI to learn from as well. What she does is she automatically sends out a Google form every week to all of her teachers. And it just says, were there any issues this week? Is there anything that I need to know about? And then what she does is when she's on whatever campus, she just goes through, goes to the each class and she'll just give a little thumbs up question mark, a little and a side or thumbs down means we need to schedule a meeting. And so then she knows that she needs to do that. So she's got two different touch points for all of her teachers on a weekly basis. So, crucial conversations. If you don't know this framework, it is an incredible one to learn. There's a book, Crucial Conversations and Crucial Accountability. In VI Foundations, we teach the teachers how to have these crucial conversations so that they are no longer coming to you with like passive aggressive, begrudging, or like anger, and that everything can be communicated in calm, clear ways so that everybody feels safe in your communication. That's one of the huge things that we teach all of the teachers that go through the VI Foundations program. Wow, we've kind of got to the end of this. Great. Okay, you guys. So we're about to wrap up, but we have a few things that we need to get done first. First and foremost, I threw a lot at you. How are you feeling, first of all? And what is the first action that you're going to take towards increasing your students' skills? I want you to share that in the chat. As always, because you guys are here live, we have a giveaway to do. So let's go ahead and have you um, share your big takeaway in the chat. Barbara says she's going to do a brief intro on how the student sees. Perfect. Love it. Okay. Did you guys get that? We're going to move on in just a second. So I'd love for you guys to share. Also, I'd love for you to share how you're going to use this information to become a better teacher. That's the thing that I want to know. How are you going to use this information to become a better teacher? I'm going to take all of your guys' names here, and it is time for our giveaway. So I will add them to our list for our giveaway. And let's see who wins, huh? So if you guys don't know, we are doing a fun giveaway. We've got so much stuff here. So everybody who's here gets a chance to win a notebook made by us, made by me. It's super cute. I love using these tiny notebooks. And if you're in the premium pass and you are chatting and engaging in our community chat every Friday. So tomorrow I will be giving away one of these whole boxes for our leaderboard. So if you have any questions about that, please let our team know, and let's see who's gonna win our notebook today. We've got Sean. Is that how you say your name? Sean. Yes, I'm gonna write your name down. Cool. Christian asks, who's the Crucial Conversations book by? Not Dana Hardy. I don't know. You have to look that up. I'll have to find it because I think it's a really great resource to learn so that you can have better conversations and how to hold people accountable. If you're a people pleaser like I am, or like I at least used to be, it really helps to hold people accountable. Stacy says she's going to work with dorm staff on their ground. Perfect. Okay. So we talked about 21st century success. We want to help our teachers interpret vision to inform instruction, use teaching strategies for non-visual learning. We also need to help them build confidence one step at a time by knowing the O&M, my kids are talking, the O&M rules and strategies that we use without stepping over us, and how to better collaborate, how to ask questions from their TVIs and their O&Ms, how to have those conversations, because when everybody has those conversations, everything gets better. So now the question becomes, how are you going to use this information to change how you teach, how you teach, how you train your teachers? How are you going to take this information and help you to become a better teacher? We've already got some great information and great chats here. I'll let you guys share that as I continue. Because for you as teachers, I want you to imagine yourself in June. You can keep doing the same things that you're doing. Hopefully, you're not allowing yourself to sit in overwhelm because that is simply just thinking too far into the future and not taking into consideration right now. But if nothing changes, nothing changes. But imagine how much faster you could help your students increase their academic and daily living skills if you were to have your teachers go through these four pillars, if you didn't have to teach it themselves, how much more confident you could be having conversations with your students' team, and how much less guessing, Googling, and chatting and chat GPTing you could do on Saturday nights if you have the right resources. For your teachers, we have a VI Foundations program. We just launched it. Our first cohort was in August, and then we had another cohort that's currently wrapping up that started in May. We're going to be starting our new cohort in just a few weeks in August again, and we're going to keep doing this every spring, summer, and fall. With the VI Foundations program, you get course, coaching, and community. It's designed for all educators working with students with visual impairments to help them skyrocket their students' academic and daily living skills faster than ever before, because that cannot just be on us. For teachers to confidently lead IEP meetings with a scientific understanding of what we, the experts, already know, and to collaborate with TVIs and O&Ms to ensure our students' success. Teresa's an O&M who went through it with her team, and she said that the program helped to train her teaching assistants to better support the unique needs of her students with visual impairments, and it further developed their knowledge base and improves their overall confidence as an important member of the team. And that's really important because our TAs don't typically feel like they are important members of our team because they don't have the exact words to have those conversations. But if they did, then they'd have a little bit more collateral in order to collaborate. The program itself is asynchronous and synchronous together. So asynchronous being all the modules are available when you sign up, and then monthly meetups to answer any questions. We do blindfold trainings and to dive deeper into the topics. It's broken down into 3 units. Unit 1 is science-backed foundations, kind of goes over the first pillar. Unit 2 is all O&M, basic movement skills, how to support their skills. And Unit 3 is how to actually teach these skills. What is the pedagogy that the O&M and the TVI are using? We've got 9 different modules that go through that. We also give them a training on teaching students with multiple impairments. If you're in the premium pass, you just went through that training last Tuesday. It was absolutely incredible. I have to just share with you the group that was in there was so lovely. Having Julia to teach with me as well. We go through different etiologies and how to help them, and we cluster them between neurological visual impairment, orthopedic, and hearing impairment or dual sensory loss. They also have 10 hours of CEU certificate, and this is available to you too. So if you want to learn how to do it, we also are creating AVI Foundations facilitators curriculum. It's not done yet, but just be on the lookout because it'll be done pretty early on. And then there's also 12 weeks of coaching calls that we have with our members, and they get access to our app that has our VIP community. I'll share with you a little bit more about that. So there's 12 modules dripped. They're no longer dripped weekly. I apologize. Because we know that the great aim of education is not knowledge, but action. We want to get you and all of our teachers into action and not just sitting here taking this information in. If you join Clarity by midnight tonight, you will also receive our easy data collection system. And I'll share with you exactly what Clarity is, because the VI Foundations program, if you join and you've been on this call, you will get VI Foundations completely free. It's typically just for annual members, but I want to do something just for you guys. If you're curious about it, you want to see what it's like, or you want to have your teachers go through it, they will need their own licenses to go through it, but you can take that information and use it to help your teachers. because we know that different choices equal different results. But it's not just that. You have to have different resources in order to make different choices, and that will help you get different results. Joan, our lovely Joan, is a member of Clarity, and she said that having the accessible lesson plans at her fingertips has changed the way that she teaches. So, Clarity, in and of itself, is our program that's a monthly membership, and you get 8 brand new lesson plans with materials every single month for a variety of learners, so you never have to run out of ideas again. You also get an expert-led workshop with Julia Hutchinson, who's our Clarity coordinator. This is everything that you need exactly when you need it. We also just created an app where you can connect, chat, and grow together in our chat feature. A lot of times people use the DMs a lot more than they actually chat. It's still just us being the ones posting, but you guys are more than welcome to post if you would like to. And our AI bot. If you haven't heard of Louie yet, this is our incredible, specifically trained AI bot who will help you to get unstuck at any moment. Because it's not just about showing up, right? We have to show up consistently in order to be impactful. You don't need to be guessing. I just want you to be calm, confident, and have clarity. And Jared said that he was on the fence about joining Clarity, but then when he saw how the library was organized, he was able to use it that afternoon, and there's so many more possibilities. Because this is our back to school sale right now during our back to school bash until August 14th. When you sign up for Clarity, you can sign up for $2 only for the first 30 days, and then it's only $27 after that. And I know that $27 is a budgeted item. It's a budgeted item in my house. You're my children. Because of them, $27 is budgeted. But we're spending money no matter what we do anyway. So I like to look at my money as how am I going to invest it to get my time back? And how am I going to spend my money so that it's actually working for me? You also, in Clarity, will get a full library of resources. This is a $300 bonus. There are over 200 lesson plans completely done for you, plug and play. I'll show you what this looks like. Most of you guys have been here. How do you sign up for VI Foundations? We can put the link in the chat for you right now. Diane, will you put the link for um, for the back to school bash? And Barbara, if you want the link just for Clarity, we can give that to you. Or sorry, just for VI Foundations, we can give that to you too. I'm seriously going to suggest signing up for Clarity and doing the VI Foundations because we'll email it to you together. When you sign up for Clarity before the 14th, we will give you the VI Foundations and it's $2 for the first 30 days. I think it's a better deal, but you do you. You could choose whatever works for you. We're having $25 off every program right now. But there's an entire list in your library, and you can choose which lesson plans you want to look at. It literally pulls up like right on your phone. You can download the materials. This is a PDF that's completely accessible. And then if you were to go find another one, like here's your other PDF, and then you have the actual lesson plan that's really pretty if you want that too. But check, this is one of my favorite aspects. You also can download everything into your Google Drive. We do this specifically and we teach everything in Google Drive on purpose, and everything is CVI friendly. And then we also have workshops. Let's go see one of these workshops. And I honestly was just like poking around in there when I made this, but I forgot that we mail out every quarter. We have a make and take workshop, and Julia will go buy the materials for you. She'll cut it up and she'll mail it directly to you. It's completely free. It's something we love doing with our members. And here I am just like scrolling through. And these are adapting PE equipment for our students with CVI. We have a lot of CVI things in there. So we're going to wrap up real quick. And I just want to remind you that during the back to school bash, you get to really step into the person that you want to become. You no longer have to hold all of those that you no longer have to be the only person holding the weight of what you're going to teach and how you're going to teach it. Everything is plug and play, designed by a TVI O&M who's still teaching in the field full time. And she works in a variety of different areas within the United States. You get done for you, plug and play lesson plans, materials that you can pull up on your phone at any given moment. You have your AI assistant if you have any questions or you want some more ideas. You also have access to our app. And if you are a member of the Society of Exceptional Educators and you take the TVI Symposium or the O&M Symposium, everything is accessible within the app and it's available on the App Store. Then you also get the library of resources absolutely free and VI Foundations. Now, when you're a member of Clarity, when our VI Foundations facilitator curriculum comes out, we will also give that to you. I want to make sure that it's like absolutely perfect for you though. So it's not fully ready. So I can't release it right now, but it is coming out this fall. So that way you can walk your teachers through everything. Like we're going to give you all of my PowerPoints, all of our outlines, how to teach, the adult way of teaching, all of that. If you just want to join VI Foundations, it's $217. I think we're doing $25 off. That's pay in full. But if you join Clarity, it's $2. So I highly suggest it because I think it's the best deal that you're going to find you so that you don't have to be piecemealing our teachers pay teachers resources together on the days that you're really stressed out. You have something in your back pocket. If you have any questions, please let me know. Cool. Barbara, you don't have VI Foundations in there yet. I literally just announced it right now. So it's not in there, but we'll make sure that you get it. Does anybody have any questions before we head out? Okay, good. Perfect. For those of you guys who are already in Clarity, I already see some people here. I'm just so grateful that you are. We will be giving you the VI Foundations program so you can go through it and you can use it to help teach your teachers. If they are interested, Clarity is available for them as well, and they can also join the VI Foundations program and we will get them hooked up. All right, you guys, we are here at the 12 o'clock mark, my time. If you have any questions, Diane, can you put the link to Clarity in the chat one more time for those who need it, and then we will take off. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Valdete. I love this shirt. Okay, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. The link to the Clarity checkout is there. You can go to our regular website anytime between now and August 14th to get any of the discounts that we have available. We do take purchase orders, so if you have to run it by your teaching admins, more than welcome to do that. And I just want to thank you for your time. All right, bye everybody. We'll see you later.